with the cord going through the cord lock, coming through the barrel, and coming down through the slats. The next step, or the next problem that occurs on a mini blind, is the actuator, also known as a tilt control, goes bad. The first step would be to come to the opposite end of the blind from the actuator, taking the end off the blind. The next step is we would take the tilt rod, move it away from the actuator. The next step, after removing the tilt rod from the actuator, there are two tabs, one on either side of the tilt control. We take one flap with the needle nose pliers, bend the tab away from the tilt control. Removing the tilt control. We now take the new tilt control, put it back in place, take a needle nose pliers from underneath, bending the tab over, locking the tilt control in place. Once the tilt control is back in place, we take the tilt rod, push it back through the actuator / tilt control. And what we do, we take the sleeve which holds the S-hook, take it and place it on the stem of the tilt control. We then take our S-hook, place the S-hook through the hole, we take our wand, placing it in place. The last and final step would be to come to the opposite end of the blind and put back the end. In place. And the blind tilts properly. That was the end of the repair of the tilt control actuator.
Okay, we're going to start out. The customer, in this case, would like this blind cut in the width, 1.5 inches on either side. Both sides, they want a total of 3 inches. So what we're going to do is have Joe cut down all of these veins with our cutter. Come on in here, Joe, and leave it on the table and explain how that works.
Okay. First, you have to dial in your 1.5 inches. Then you lock it in place. Okay, now you're ready to cut the veins.
Okay.
Okay, with your cutter, you want to slide the vein into the cutter and snip. So now I want to measure 1.5 inches on the head rail where I have to cut off. Then I'm going to take with the hacksaw and I'm going to cut the 1.5 inches this way.
What we see is a finished blind that was cut down in the width, and look at the edges, how nice and straight they are.
Now I'm about to show you how to shorten the shade.
A pleated shade. And I'll hold it up, Joe, so we could see that it's a pleated shade. And pleated shades are, everybody thinks they're very difficult to work with and to cut down in the width and to record. We're going to show you how easy and how fast it is. Pleated shades are wonderful to work with. Joe's going to lie it down. He's going to take and he's going to cut the head reel, and he's going to cut the fabric itself. And it's going to actually look really nice when it's done.
I'm gonna slide the head wheel off. Then you remove the bottom rail. Now you measure your 1.5 inches from the edge of the shade. Then you turn it up, take with your hacksaw to cut the plastic piece only. Then you fill back part of the shade that has a sticky backing to it, as you can see. You take the piece that you just cut, and just snap it off like that. Then you would do the bottom. With the same procedure with the shade, fill it back. Tear this piece off. Okay. Now for the fabric, I will just take and measure 1.5 inches. And draw a straight line across the pleats. A nice dark line. Then I'll take with my scissor